shot up his girlfriend Travia's house.
All right,
Um,
hang on, Miss
So
Liv.
in as much as Mr. Sharp said that the police don't rather believe that Mr. Zachary's line about Kelvin Watts shooting up Entrevia's house, that part is correct because Entrevia Smith relayed to police when she gave them that video that Kelvin Watts was in the house with her. So in as much as Quindarius Zachary is attempting to push responsibility from what we believe is one member of his group to a member of the opposition group, I would think that would be relevant. It's not. It wouldn't be the first thing that I would ask him. It's something that I don't think is inadmissible, but it's also something that at this time we're going to talk to him. We've noticed the defense about our intent to talk about when Entrevia Smith's house got shot up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not every line of this portion that Mr. Sharp has labeled number 9. We may not get into every single line there, but the topic itself is what we did notice them that we're going to introduce evidence of.
if they bring up shooting of Travia's house, that's one thing, and that's, it may or may not be relevant. But my issue, and I don't agree with the state's characterization about Mr. Zachary lying about it. What we're dealing with here is not Mr. Zachary lying. Mr. Zachary wasn't at Trevia Smith's house. Mr. Zachary was not shooting at Trevia Smith's house or being shot at Miss Smith's house, Trevia Smith's house. Mr. Zachary is passing on rumors that he's heard through the grapevine about who did what, and the police are saying, well, we don't believe that's accurate because we believe that Shelkel was in the house. So how could he shoot up the house? So
Attention to the first line of it gave over to the police after her using the video along with Antonio Sledge, where they were threatening Kelvin Watts.
All right, let me ask you this. Could you take a closer look at the rest of 39 through 42 and maybe sort out what part of that you think, if he doesn't testify as you think he will, you would use to impeach him on a relevant issue? And then maybe get back to us on this one?
Yes.
Okay. Because I mean, I kind of hear you saying, even you think not all of it is anything you would want or need. Okay.
And that's all the way through 42.
All right.
opposition actions towards one another. Shell Kell shot up the gambling house. On McDonald Boulevard, Dennis asks on page 43, line 1, that's when Thug's car got shot, right?
Hmm.
I believe, if we haven't already, I believe that we have we've touched on that there was a shooting where his car got shot. But it may have been with Kenneth Copeland and some of the stuff that we have to redo.
Right.
But Mr. Zachary is saying, yeah, shot up Thug's car. Thug wasn't studying it. All of that information, maybe not like that, but that information we anticipate bringing out. So to the extent that Mr. Sharp objects and has as his basis lack of personal knowledge, I would just ask that the court find that it's admissible subject to the proper foundation being laid for it.
I'm okay. That seems reasonable if you can lay the foundation.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. After consulting with others, we're going to withdraw our objection to that.
Okay.
All right. All right.
So I'm gonna take that out.
All right. Number 11.
45.
That should, number 11 should be 46, line
Okay.
15.
Okay.
46, 15 through 16.
Yes. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I'm wrong. It was supposed to be 45.
Okay.
I'm sorry. They're all talking about an unrelated, they're talking about a girl named Clenethia Rant. And then Mr. Zachary just says she's dead. And then they talk about the circumstances of her
Okay.
murder.
I don't have.
All right, that she agrees.
Coming out.
Okay.
What's her name?
So
That's 45, 15 through 46,
Yeah.
16. I agree. Okay, let me interrupt y'all a minute. I have word that Mr. Copeland is here and available right now, so why don't we pause what we're doing with this and have him in, see if he has an attorney, see if he wants an attorney. We don't yet have anything put together that I'm going to advise him of, but
I'm good.
we could get through a little bit more of this, tell him to hold tight, take a lunch break where y'all can come up with something. But I could at least find out about the attorney issue right now.
I think that's
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Copeland. I'm Judge Whitaker. I think you've been before me before in unrelated matters, but I'm the judge taking over this case now. So go ahead and have a seat. What I want to ask you right now, I know that you have been given immunity with regard to your testimony. And there had been, at some point, you didn't want to testify. At some point, you did want to testify. The first question I have for you.
I know when to testify.
Okay, the first, well, right, want to is maybe the wrong term. But my question for you right now is, do you have an attorney at all?
I don't know.
You don't know whether you have an attorney. I would think that would be a no then if you don't know
I'm
whether you
saying I was talking to Melanie, but
Melnick?
yes,
Okay, didn't he ask to be relieved as your attorney, and did you sign something saying that's okay, you can get out of this?
I don't.
You don't remember? Okay, does anybody know whether that actually occurred?
I don't believe it occurred.
Okay.
I believe that Ms. Bumpus,
I know she was stand-in. and
she was standing and I believe something was said on the record to the effect that Ms. Bumpus was relieved. But
Yeah, I know
don't-
she was,
there was
but,
nothing about Mr. Melnick to my knowledge.
okay, maybe we,
There was, Ms. Bumpus actually said yesterday, I believe, during her testimony, that Mr. Melnick had directed her to tell Mr. Copeland that he could either exercise his, he
well,
could do
choose
one
not to
thing,
testify.
right? Or if he chose to testify, according to Ms. Bumpus.
Yeah, I remember she said, there's this paper I'm supposed to get him to sign. I'm trying to figure out whether it got signed.
So I never got Mr. Melanie off my case,
Okay, so he's still your attorney then?
I guess.
Okay, all right. Well, then that's the answer we've got for that. All right, so I'm going to try to get a hold of Mr. Melnick and see if he can be here with us this afternoon, because some of what I suspect you recall when you were brought into Judge Glanville's chambers with Ms. Bumpus and a couple of the people from the state. And there was a discussion that Ms. Bumpus and Ms. Hilton and Judge Glanville had with you. You asked some questions. They gave you some information. Some of that information was not actually factually correct. And I want to make sure that you have the opportunity, understanding what it is that the immunity order means, understanding what the potential consequences are if you do testify or if you don't. We're basically going to kind of start over and
So if
do
I
that
don't
over.
testify, what?
Huh?
So if I don't testify, how long you gonna hold me in jail?
So, I mean, that's still an issue that you can be held in jail through the end of this trial, but I'd rather have Mr. Melnick here to advise you about the potential drawbacks of and benefits of what, if there are any,
This
of any
trial
of
right
your.
To the end of this trial,
Yes.
not the other people.
Not as far as I believe, but the state, what, did you want to do some further research on that?
Yes, just to advise the court
Okay.
of.
Okay, so I just wanted to know, first off, do you have an attorney? Because if you do have an attorney, then your attorney may have some information, advice, and research for me about that. So I want to make sure that I tell you the correct thing about that, okay? So we're going to take a lunch break in a little while, and why don't we plan to have you back here on standby at least. I don't know who was in communication, but we need to reach out to Mr. Melnick, see what his availability is. So just be on standby in case I need you here like at 2 or 3 this afternoon.
2 or 3?
Yeah, because we're about to take a lunch break before too much longer. So you're okay to leave for the next couple of hours, but stay where whomever reached out from the state can reach you to let you know whether you need to be back here this afternoon or potentially tomorrow instead, okay?
All right.
All right, thank you. So, I don't know who. Okay, my litigation manager is going to reach out to Mr. Melnick, see if he can get a hold of, see if she can get hold of Mr. Melnick and find out what his availability is. And depending upon his availability, we'll just see when it is that we have Mr. Copeland back. Because I want him to have the benefit of counsel. And then I also want y'all over the lunch break to work on whatever you think ought to be the correct advice to him. And if you, the state, believe that it is possible to hold him past the trial for which he is under subpoena, then you show me what authority
Yes, Your Honor.
lets you believe that. Okay?
Your
All
Honor,
right, yeah.
One thing, I think that the transcript reflects this from June 10th, and as well as Ms. Bumpus's testimony yesterday.
Mhm.
She was emphatic that Mr. Melnick said, if you testify, I'm not representing you. So, and with the fact that Mr. Copeland said,
No, what he said was, if you plead the fifth, I'm not representing you. So I don't know, what that means. I'm just going to reach out to Mr. Melnick, and at least Mr. Copeland thinks Mr. Melnick is still representing him. And if Mr. Copeland never signed whatever that was relieving him, I don't know exactly what their arrangement is, but let's find out from Mr. Melnick.
yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, so let's get a few more minutes in of this before we break, because it's not even noon yet, and we were making some progress, which is good. All right, so we were on number 12.
Number 12. Number 12 being page 47, lines, if I'm reading correctly, line 14 through page 50, line 8.
Yes.
Okay. So, Your Honor, the objection to this portion of it, just to give you a little bit of background. So, this fight happened around January the 6th, and it did begin with Mr. Copeland, according to the reports from our investigators, but it involved more than one member of YSL, more than one alleged member of YSL. Mr. Bloody J, who is a member of If Gang, was on the other side of the fight from YSL, and other people who are in the courtroom now participated in that with them. So Mr. Zachary's rendition of what happened, that we would argue it's Mr. Zachary's knowledge of and participation there is a ground to exclude it, assuming that the court is satisfied with the foundation that the state lays for Mr. Zachary's
Being
ability
a
to-
co-conspirator.
Yes, we would argue that it's admissible. It's
So do you know whether he was there or not?
So
So let me ask Mr. Shart, is the basis for you saying you don't think he was there that no on line 23 when, is that the basis of it?
What page, line 23?
47, line 23? Because I don't think that no is actually an answer
Oh,
to.
no,
Okay.
it's not based on that.
Okay.
I
You have no
actually
reason
do
to
not
believe.
know.
Okay,
I actually do not know
Okay.
he was there, and I haven't heard anyone talk about him being
okay.
there.
Do we
And
know whether
and
he
this
was
is-
there?
page 48, line 5. Start at line.
Oh, so we went back there. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
if he was in fact there, then
And
I
then
withdraw.
somewhere else, he says, would he, okay, all right, well then you'll withdraw that objection?
If he was there, then yes.
Okay. So that number 12 is withdrawn. All right, number 13.
My understanding is this is page 54, line 18 through page 55, line 11.
Yeah, let's take that up first.
So the state has no objection to page 54, lines 18 through 22, where investigator Dennis says who they say killed him, meaning Donovan Thomas. Zachary repeats the question. Ultimately, Zachary says, shoot, they say Woody and them, I don't know for a fact. So I would agree and argue that he don't know.
Okay,
So it's
He's
not,
telling them,
okay. So 54, line 18 through 22, you concede should be redacted.
so, and let me also give further clarification. Mr. Zachary, later, he tells earlier in 2015, he relates to law enforcement about statements made to him by two people in the courtroom now. And two people admitting having killed Donovan Thomas.
Okay,
This statement right here is after 2 years later. So, when he says, they say Woody and them, I don't know for a fact.
mm-hmm.
If somebody argued that that's an inconsistent statement that should come in, I'm not objecting to it coming out because what I feel is a lie is irrelevant, but I'm not objecting to it coming out.
Okay,
so, Your Honor, we got a lot of moving parts here. Because eventually, I agree with Ms. Love. Eventually, in this statement, Mr. Zachary claims that Mr. Kendrick told him that they killed Nutt and Mr. Stillwell told him that they killed Mr. Thomas.
okay.
So I anticipate, because, I was doing
Okay, then our next item is on page 65, lines 8 through 20.
We're on number 15.
Yes.
It's, and my objection to this is just incorrect rendition of the law, explaining, Investigator Dennis is explaining to Quindarius Zachary why he's guilty by association.
Yeah, yeah, and I suspect he was not offering that as here's what the law is. He was offering that as here's what we law enforcement consider you to be, but I can understand that. You wanna agree to that, Ms. Love?
Just, if the court will give, my counsel is sitting here whispering in my ear, the court will give me 1 second.
To get there and consider it, yes, I will give you a second to do that.
I'm here in the court.
We'll see. Give you about 10 more seconds to make your decision, then I'm just gonna make my ruling.
I don't object to 65-8 through 65-20 coming out.
All right. So that is out by agreement.
And Your Honor,
Yes.
yeah, I don't have any objection to that. I don't have a problem. It's all of number 15, and number 16 starts at page 66, line 12 through 66, line 18 is what I understand. Your Honor, this is one of the acts that's listed as an overt act in this indictment. As I'm reading it, page 66, line 12, starts out talking about the gun that Mr. Zachary got caught with on May the 7th, and then Investigator Dennis goes on to say the assault rifle you're in the video with, and he's saying what it came back to. And then you have Mr. Zachary saying that's Moon's gun. But he is acknowledging that he and Mr. Sledge, who the state alleges, Mr. Sledge already pled, but Mr. Zachary is indeed YSL. So they're swapping guns. We would just argue that this is evidence of count, the gang count in this case.
That's not my issue.
Count one.
Okay, so do you have an issue with lines 8, lines, where is it? 12 through 18?
I do have an issue with 12 to 18. I don't have an issue with him saying that he gave the gun to Moontook or that's Moontook's gun. That's fine. What I have an issue with is saying, with Investigator Dennis, saying that the ballistics from that gun matched the May 7th shooting of Lucci's Bennett's
Okay.
mom's house. And there's a couple reasons. A, it's not been put in evidence
Okay,
yet.
well, hang on, maybe we can address your objection. Still have in the portion that Ms. Love wants it
Okay.
for
So it's
by
really 16.
redacting a smaller part of it.
I should have said 16 and 17,
Okay.
to be more precise.
Okay, so any issue with just taking, with redacting out 16 and 17, Investigator Dennis's statement about,
Not for the purposes of secondary. No objection at all.
okay. So. Six, 7. Through 18, out by agreement. Okay, and next we move to 68, 24, and 25. Are you,
It's,
I was,
yeah,
was the court asking?
I don't, Mr. Sharp, did that have some issue?
right, 60, they're going back to Lucci Mom's house. They're saying the gun you got until you went to, you didn't know until you went to court. I think that should come out, 68,
Okay.
19.
Okay, so that's, and then maybe we just aren't lined up with
Yeah.
line numbers.
Yeah, that's
So 68, 19 through 21, right?
5, I would say,
5,
because then they go to Lucci Mom again.
well,
It-
24 maybe?
Right, okay.
Okay, like, right, so 19 through 24, out.
And then
All right, hang on, let's make sure we've got agreement on that.
19 through 20. That's
Page 68, lines 19 through 24. Do you agree?